So, ladies and gentlemen, back to an amazing game. Hey Hazardous, hey Trathon, hey Blade Taval, Jump Garage, and Vanilla. Yes, there was actually a Mickey Mouse platformer. There's actually been several. That one was on the SNES, though, by Capcom, back when Capcom made really, really good platformers. It actually, I guess, hasn't been that long since Mega Man 11. It's a really, really good platformer. So, hey, what's with this thing? What's going on with these people? I am one of the Gorons, the stone-eating people of Death Mountain. I need to tell you this because Gorons are a new invention as of Ocarina. Look at that huge boulder over there. It blocks the entrance to Dodongo's Cavern, which was once a very important place for us Gorons. But one day, many Dodongos suddenly appeared inside the cavern. It became a very dangerous place. On top of that, a Gerudo in black armor used his magic to seal the entrance with that boulder. Want to hear more Goron gossip? Head up to our city. Goron City's just a way up the trail. It won't even take much longer to get there, even on foot. So why don't you eat the boulder? And then the Dodongos. This is a sharp-looking game. You know that? Like, I've seen better, but it's kind of crazy how... This is funny. I've talked so much about how I don't care about the visuals, right? But this is a sharp-looking game. They say a beautiful fairy lives on top of Death Mountain. Don't you want to see her? No, I most assuredly do not. Like, look at that. Yura could probably tell you more about this than I could, but, like, we've got, so the blue is obviously a nice contrast. The green makes the brown dirt kind of pop out more. And there's different color gradients in the dirt. But the other thing I like is they've got this, I think saturation is the word I'm looking for, effect going on to indicate distance, to make it look like those parts of the mountain are much, much further away. They're actually not. This whole zone is very small, as every zone in this entire game is very small. Another nice detail is that's Kakariko right down there. We'll see more of that in a few. Yeah, that sounds about right, Hazardous. Especially with the heat. Yeah, no, exactly. It's sharp. I don't know. I don't have a better word for it. It's very sharp. Usually, when it comes to a gameplay perspective, that's down to visual distinction. But visual distinction itself is kind of an aggregate term for things like color usage, what kind of textures are used against what other kind of textures, if there's any outlining. Yeah, exactly, Jalota. The whole game feels large. Oh, so nice thought. I never noticed this until I played this on the 3DS. I think I've told you this story before. But there's a big old mural. This is on the N64 version. There's a big old mural of the King Dodongo over there on the wall. Never saw that in the original. So, this is our third town area we've been in, of 5, by the way. Although the 5th one is pathetic and minuscule, but still, there's a lot of town areas in this game. No, I'm sorry, this is our 4th town area. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, sorry. 4th of 6. I apologize, I missed one. Everyone feels faint from hunger because of the food shortage in this town. We're in danger of extinction. It's all because we can't enter our quarry. Yeah, I'm sorry. We live on a diet of rocks, and the most delicious and nutritious rocks are in the cavern. But all that's ancient history now. We've been such gourmets, we can't stand to eat rocks from anywhere else. I want to eat the top sirloin rocks from Dodongo's Cavern. Yeah, okay, cool. I get that you're a gourmet. I get that you want to eat good food. You're starving. Break open the goddamn boulder. Like, I'm with having a preference when it comes to food, but if you've reached the point of starvation, then maybe you want to move past that. It's doubly worse because you know how we open up the entrance to get in there so we can get those delicious rocks? We open it up by picking up one of these stupid bombs. Something they can do. We need a special tool to do that, but they don't. Now, I think this would have worked better if more emphasis was placed on the danger of the Dodongos themselves. But if you're paying attention to the dialogue, and I've been reading it out loud on purpose, the whole plot point here is the cavern's sealed and we're starving. Okay. How about the cavern is swarming with dangerous enemies, and we're starving? That works a lot better for me. And it's a relatively minor change that already fits what they've already established, but instead they do all this emphasis on, oh my god, we can't get in. I actually think there's not a lot I can do in here right now, so we're just going to go to talk to this guy. If I'm not mistaken, you came here to eat the redstone too. Well, too bad. It's not here. What? That's not why you're here? You're looking for the spiritual stone. That must be the delicious-looking red stone that was once displayed above the city. I was so hungry I thought it'd be okay to just give it one teeny tiny little lick, so I snuck up there, but it was already gone. Apparently, Bionic Punk. I think Big Brother took it away. He always says everyone is after that redstone. Big Brother shut himself in the room. He says, I'll wait here for the royal family's messenger. Are you the messenger? You'd have to have some kind of proof. I am the messenger of the king. Representative of the royal family of Hyrule. Speaking of. Apparently it's going to be good today. These are all very good questions, Jathan. I'm not sure if this deserves a full negative, but it is kind of a weak plot point in otherwise a fairly solid section. For example, the previous section where we had to go into the Deku Tree, perfect sense, right? And that was an awesome sequence, and it got positives galore. And later on, for its issues, the reason we go into Jabu-Jabu's belly makes perfect sense as well, and still kind of lines up with the nature of the story and what we're doing for that section. So that's cool in both directions. But what the hell's going on with the Goron's Cavern, right? The Dodongo Caverns. Speaking of which, it's called Dodongo's Caverns. That's the other thing. So, like, I'm kind of challenging myself here, because if the only problem is going in because, oh, we can't go in there because there's Dodongos, isn't that the norm? Isn't this like going out hunting, right? Like there's a built-in problem here? Now, it's possible the writers themselves figured that out. And the writers were like, aha, it can't be the Dodongos, they're the norm. So instead they decided to have this boulder. But the problem is, there's just too many ways around the boulder. Including the way we use, by the way. So, I don't know, I don't think it's fully negative. I think I'm talking myself down of a negative here. But this is a pretty weak plot point, especially compared to the other two. Speaking of which, let me look at my notes really quick. Apologies. No, 100%. This game would get more negatives and less positives if it was the N64 version. That's true, cheese filling. Yeah, again, part of my problem is this would be a really easy thing to fix. One or two throwaway lines or slightly different variants of some of the dialogue would help to smooth this over smoothly, and I wouldn't even question it. In fact, I'm pretty sure we didn't question it last time we played this game, although my focus there was lore running, not, you know, not reviewing. A lore run is not concerned with quality, after all. Ow. I've already jotted that down. Sorry, give me 1 second. Please. I didn't write it down. You know, I suppose that's fair, Pillars of Snow. But I'd also rather die than replay the N64 version of this game. So, hang on. Ugh. Ugh. Ah, shoot, I had a fairy. Well, whatever, I guess I'll keep going. But for real, I'm never playing the N64 version again. You couldn't pay me enough to. I just really, really, really hate the controls of that game, and the low frame rate has always bothered me. And honestly, I could stop there. Like, going in and out of the menus is irritating, and several of the specific puzzles and quests are a little bit worse. A lot of the combat is much worse. The visuals are actively bad. Like, all those brickwork positives, a lot of the visual positives I'm giving would not have been given to the N64 version. Did I write down controls already? No, I did not. Sand, Jordan 2D2. 2D2. We drank sand. That's all we had. I do have the gold cartridge still to this very day. What the heck? Who are you? When I heard the song of the royal family, I expected the messengers to arrive, but you're just a little kid. Has Darunia, big boss of the Gorons, really lost so much status as to be treated like this by his sworn brother, the king? By the way, more of that world building in the background here. So the Gorons actually have a personal connection to the Hyrulean family, in addition to a political connection to the Hyrulean family. They've probably been defending the northeastern flank of Hyrule for some time, and were guaranteed involved in the war. I'm really angry. Get out of my face. If you ask why I'm in such a bad mood, ancient creatures have infested the cavern. We've had poor harvest of our special crop, the bomb flowers. Starvation and hunger because of the rock shortage. But this is a Goron problem. We don't need help from strangers. And of course, he's not doing so well, so let's cheer him up, shall we? And I'm just gonna let you all enjoy this one. What a hot beat. So, this is silly. And I'm with it. Plus the story. That's just a silly, fun little moment. Yeah, the fact that Navi joins in, that's awesome. You notice the camera goes behind the flame during the hot beat thing? Like, that's a well-done cutscene. Even if I didn't enjoy it, I would have to give that a plus. What a nice tune. Just like that, my depression's all gone. Man, I wish that worked that way in real life. Something just came over me. I suddenly wanted to dance like crazy. I am Darunia. I'm the big boss of the Gorons. Was there something you wanted to ask me about? You want the Spiritual Stone of Fire, too. The Spiritual Stone of Fire, also known as the Goron's Ruby, is our race's hidden treasure. Hold on. I'm not going to give it to you easily. If you want it so badly, why don't you go destroy the monsters inside of Dodongo's cavern? Prove you're a real man. That way everyone will be happy again. If you do it, I'll even give you anything you want. Even the Spiritual Stone. I have something for you. I'm not really giving you this in return for anything, but take it anyway. You wear this, even a little fellow like you can pick a bomb flower up. Cool. I mean, I've done that several times, Blue Fusion Bolt. Wow, this scene sucks and I hate it and it's awful. Plus the story. Oh yeah, it's actually on her arm. I forget if that's an inclusion in this version of the game or not. I don't remember. I had a list of all the changes in the 3DS version, but I don't have them in front of me, and so I don't remember if that's one of them. Oh, we don't get many visitors way up here. Where are you from? The forest? What's a forest? There's a lot of trees and plants? Now I'm even more confused. Nothing grows around here besides bomb flowers. We don't have seeds or nuts or anything. Even Deku sticks are rare around here. I know a trick to conserve sticks. If you light a stick on fire, it'll burn to ashes. Press A before it completely burns. Actually, that's kind of neat. That's a nice little bit of integration. They don't have many plants up here, so they have to conserve what plants they do have. So they teach you how to put away the stick and not lose it. I'll give you that one, game. Sorry. It's so much muscle memory. I've sped run this game too many times. It's muscle memory. What is green? You see this? Oh, okay. Actually, while we're here... Oh, no, I need the boomerang for that, don't I? Never mind. I'm standing here to shade this bomb flower from the sun. The plant growing over there is a bomb flower. It's a mining plant that only grows up on this mountain. The flower's fruit is a raw material for bombs. But a non-Goron amateur should never pick up a bomb flower's fruit. They usually grow back only in dark places, so bomb flowers that grow in places like this are extremely rare. See that cavern on the way here? That's Dodongo's cavern. Because the light inside is very dim, the bomb flowers, a plant unique to this mountain, grow like crazy in there. Yes, the backwalking is still the fastest movement speed while a child in this version. Whoa. There we go. There is a problem with the 3DS version specifically, though, and it's this. This is substantially slower. I know I'm going implicative, but this is substantially slower than most other movement methods. And it's really easy to get, because you have to get right at the very, very bottom there to actually get the proper backwalk. And if you screw it up and, like, your finger slips a little bit like this, you see how he stops for a moment to adjust like that? So you actually lose even more time. It is still the fastest method, though. Nowhere near the rocks, but it's a scripted event. I just wanted to bomb that man. He deserved it. Oh, I should have thrown the bomb from the cliff. Yes, you moron. God. Well, I've already given it a negative Bionic Punk, so I hope it qualifies as a negative. So, here's the worst dungeon in the game. Let's start. So I'm going to go in depth onto this one, okay? If you don't mind. Because I gotta go in depth into Dodongo's Cavern. Let's talk about what happens the first second we walk in. So first of all, we got this vibrating effect, which I'm not a huge fan of, but it's to indicate the heat. So we got the heat lava thing here. We've got a single room, very small room, an obviously cracked wall, and 2 bomb flowers, which we just had to use in order to get in here, okay? Notice there's also nothing that, like, you know how usually there's like an opening panning shot, or there's like a title card? Nothing. It's just this empty room. So... this is when we get the panning shot. And this gives us a really great scope, not only just of the visual scale of the place, but we see an idea of the outline, not the outline, the layout of how the place works. That's immediately obvious and awesome. So, why would I need it, Vendeli? Although that's actually a good point. I should probably actually bring the new shield in here before I do this place, shouldn't I? I'll be fine. I don't need it. So, I'm being a little bit facetious, by the way. I should go ahead and give something away. This is probably the best dungeon in the game. I told you wouldn't guess it. I said it earlier today. I said there's a... one of we'll cover in depth the best dungeon in this game. It's actually this one. I'm not joking. So, let's start off by looking around for a second. What do we see? Other than the wavy, fiery effect, which is its own problem. 3 platforms going up and down periodically through the lava. We also hear when they finish doing a particular route, up or down. We see a BMOS on the middle. We don't know what those are yet, but it's something that's kind of commanding the central area here. We see there's a spot to the left, which we cannot reach under our current circumstances, and same for a spot to the right. However, by utilizing the middle area and the platforms, we're able to maneuver across them. So now we have... listen, Hazardous, it's not my fault. Now we have the ability to interact with every part of the lower level of the floor. Over onto the right, we have 2 bombable spots, 1 bomb and 1 BMOS. On the left, we have one bomb, one bubble spot, one BMOS, and a little Deku Dot guy who sells stuff we have no interest in. So, we also kind of already know where we're going, because that's our destination right there, the big skull. And I'm going to give this away a little bit early. We also have an upper layer, which connects right up there, over there, up there, and up here. And, by the way, quick bit of audio design. We don't hear the keys unless we're looking at them or we're close to them. It's part of how the game does its rendering. By the way, I'm speaking purely gameplay-wise, not Cruncher. Most people I know like Shadow Dungeon, or the Shadow Temple for the story axis. And yes, the rib cage actually kind of holds up much of the cavern. So, all of this seems fairly simple. Let's go ahead and progress through it a little bit. Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Navi, for not being Fi. I appreciate that. So we're going to go left first. And, alright, well, we've got a couple of bombable targets. We're going to play with those. Like you do. We're also going to look at this BMOS guy. And then he's going to die. It's fine. It's fine. I don't need it. I don't need it. Here's our business scrub. I'm just going to show him off very briefly. He sells us a Deku shield. For way too much, by the way. Okay. New access. New chest. Map. Nothing fancy, but in this version, better than nothing. Okay. Oh. Check up here. There's a door, which you can't really seem to interact with. So I guess the only other option now is to go ahead and go right. Hey, DZ Maven. I hope you're having a good day, because if you aren't... Oh yeah, BMOs kind of serve a similar function as they did back in LTTP here. Dangerous, but avoidable. They are functionally more of a terrain problem than they are an enemy problem. So we see a switch up there. We can't interact with that switch. We have no ability to get up there. Just keep that in mind for later. So, room 2. Narrow corridor. Not much to see here. A couple of actually enemies. All they do is charge us. Very low health. But when they die, they explode, which can also kill others of their kind. So it's a bit of a trap for you, but it is also something... I know, right, President Clamp? But it is also something that you can use against them. So it's a tool as well as a trap. Okay, so now we've got a switch, which we immediately step on. We already know what switches are. And we get our first interaction with this type of switch. Okay, no problem. Now, as it happens, this is also our tutorialization for how statues work, something that will be used up until the last dungeon of the game, or I guess the second last dungeon. Oh yes, and obviously I could have used them to blow open that door, if I felt like it, which, for obvious reasons, I did not. Come on. Simple corridor. This is actually a refill room, despite the presence of enemies, because keys tend to have decent drop rates, and we've got 2 chests in here. And by chests, I of course mean vases. Then we got our first mini-boss. Lizalfos. First time we fought these. These are supposed to be a step up from everything we fought up to this point in time. That's because they are. There's actually a few strategies for these. If you bothered to bring the Hylian shield, you have nearly a perfect strategy for dealing with these jackasses. All you have to do is block, which means crouching, and you can perfectly kill these very quickly and easily without taking any damage at all. Essentially rewarding you for having taken the prep work, because they tell you flat out, hey, maybe you should get the Hylian shield before coming up here, but they don't mandate it. They also like to stay away from you. Notice I'm not even chasing them because there's no reason to. This also guarantees you'll only fight one of these at a time. So you'll notice these are definitely a step up, but they're a safe step up, if that makes any sense. These are still functionally easy enemies, but they should be. This is just tutorializing the combat more. We haven't really fought an enemy that is, for lack of a better way to put it, humanoid up until this point. So we need to get across to the players exactly how they're going to have to deal with much harder enemies, like the later Dark Nuts and the Stalfos enemies. So, good tutorialization. Nice, tight little encounter. Moving on. Oh yeah, also lava. And it's sorry, if I could talk one more thing about this room. Sorry. There's so much density here to cover. This lava is interesting because this is what we call a scare tactic. There's actually several examples of that in Nintendo games. The idea of the scare tactic is it makes it look more dangerous than it is. A good example of this is when the station's exploding at the very beginning of Super Metroid. That's a scare tactic. 1 minute seems like, oh my god, I've only got a minute to get out. But it takes hardly any time whatsoever to get out. Like just 30 seconds if you're going slow, right? So you got tons of time, but everything about the event is making you think, oh my god, you're gonna die any second. And you're taking all this damage, but you're not. You actually cannot take any damage after the Ridley fight on the station. That's what I mean when I say a scare tactic. It's there to add to the intensity of the moment without actually being a dick about it. It's something that a lot of games like these are very, very good at doing. And yes, I agree. Navi's "watch out" is actually very helpful because it tells you exactly when you've managed to lock on to certain types of things. Boop. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is a guy who sells sticks. You might think that's a weird choice. Well, remember, sticks are kind of rare here. And you need sticks for the upcoming thing. And you might have gotten to this point without any sticks, or with very, very few sticks. So there's your source of them. Here's the actual Dodongos. That is the second of 3 that we will see of the Dodongos. Notice, once again, fairly simple attack pattern, but escalating slightly from what we've seen so far. Just like the larva, they also explode on death. And these vases drop plenty of rupees on purpose in order to ensure that you can afford those sticks if you need them. Forgive me for going this level of depth. I usually don't go this far in detail in level design because I don't want to bore people. But there's a lot of thought that goes into this dungeon, and there's a reason why I say it's the best designed dungeon in the game. Might not be the best dungeon, might not be the favorite dungeon. In fact, it's not my favorite dungeon. That would be the Spirit Temple. But it is a very well-designed dungeon, and it needs to be notated. That's true, sticks also do more damage than your sword, by 1 damage point per swing. Speaking of more than 1 damage per swing, I screwed that up. Well, whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay. So now we've cleared the way. We already know that we can light torches in order to progress. And there's something that gives us sticks. So, go and do this. And because we're not stupid, we're going to conserve those. Because now we have a new fire to light the next torch. And the next torch. And Shazam. Now, President Clamp brings up an interesting question. How long should legacy content be promoted? I'm a big proponent of the idea that content should be ported forwards pretty much regardless, almost entirely from a historical preservationist perspective, but also a convenience one, if I'm being completely honest with you. That's true. I actually forgot to mention that. So, I would be fine if, for example, Twilight Princess also came out on the Wii U, which it did, but then also the Switch, and then also the Switch 2. Now, there's a caveat there, because greed is a thing. Ports, especially bare bones ports, really shouldn't cost full price. Now, remasters, that's a little different, because you put time and effort and work into that. How the hell? Oh, right, I forgot I bound that to that. I actually forgot about that. But otherwise, eh. So, yeah, we don't want a Skyrim situation exactly. So here we are back in the central room. And we saw this switch earlier, and now we can reach it effortlessly, which opens up the door on the other side. Okay. Notice how we've done a full loop, by the way, our first loop of the central room. And this is another thing where the looping dungeon design really comes into its own in this place. Because almost every sequence of puzzles, every motif of puzzles brings you back to this central room. And each time you do, the way in which you can interact with it changes slightly. In this case, this is a fairly simple walk right back across in order to get over here. Although if we went right first, we'd be able to do those little side things first. But here we go. Boop. Let's go. So, big old room. Bunch of bombs. Bombable wall. Well, of course we go for the bombable wall first. Duh. So let's do that first. Cool. What else we got here? Well, we're locked in. So we've got bombs and we've got statues around the chest. Well, to see what you're probably going to do is you're going to grab the statue and you're going to try to pull it away, which is exactly what they want you to do. Now, these enemies actually have a wind-up time to prevent them from immediately being a dick, for lack of a better way to put that. These could have easily been troll enemies, but instead the game actually goes out of its way to give you a moment to recognize that you're about to be fighting this trapped enemy. It also gives us the tool to do so with no real effort or problems to ourselves. They also explode on death, by the way. If it's not obvious, the running motif, the gameplay theme of this dungeon is bombs. Duh, I suppose. But it's worth repeating. Yeah, that's 3 enemies we've encountered so far that are also bombs. But all that gave us was the compass. So clearly we have to go up. There's all these bombs all over the place. And there's a fairly obvious space in the middle. So you can see how just looking at the puzzle gets across the idea pretty quickly that this is what you want to do. Once again, explosives as part of the gameplay theme. No, the sun is a deadly laser, Noctis. This is one of the worst parts of the dungeon, right here. Okay, we're done with that. There's a red rupee up here, which I'm going to go out of my way to not get, because my rupees are maxed. Thanks for that game. Oh yeah, by the way. See that gold skull over there? It's a good way to tutorialize that he's there, but we have no way to reach him. We need the boomerang to reach him. So we're locked in, and we know what we're doing here. We also have flaming keys. If I'm going to lose my Deku Shield, it's going to be in this room. Pretty much guaranteed. This is the room I almost always lose my Deku Shield in. We only need to move this one. So we only move this one. Okay, no problems, no problems. Pop this. Just kind of sneak out. Don't want to deal with the rest of that room. There's another keys. Damn it, I keep trying to use the gyro that doesn't exist. Grab more seeds while we're here. Notice they give you seeds right before throwing some flaming keys at you, by the way. So this is an interesting one, because we don't want to fall here, but we can see down below there. This kind of gets us in the mindset of interacting with the lower section. Just pointing it out, don't mind me. But then we move over to this section. This is probably the actual worst puzzle in this section. Navi tells us about being able to look around the corners, which is nice and all. But the problem is, this section is just too tiny. This section actually really sucks in the Master Quest version of this. And that's the problem. Like, the camera is so tight in here, it's actually just problematic. Go ahead and grab that while we're here, because we can use the refill. So there's our bombable wall. We can barely tell it's a bombable wall. Like I said, the camera is just not great up here. We go ahead and open a chest. It was completely worthless. So now we need to get a bomb up there. There's actually a few techniques for this. But that's the easy one. I think it's more like this is the first Zelda game that gave a collectible thing, period, Vandalia. So there's this room. Now this room kind of sucks in the controls we're using. This is so much better on the gyro. But we just pop that. Oh, I'm sorry, that's actually not the room I thought it was. My bad. I'm thinking of another room. Ignore me. Ignore me. We already know how these guys work, so we're going to move past them immediately. Lizalfos Part 2. Slightly smaller platforms to fight on them, but same general idea. Nothing's actually changed about them or the arena. Or sorry, them or the tactics. Just the arena has shrunk. The last one is not what I would call particularly good, Blades of All, but honestly, I'll have to look up some of the specifics to tell you more than that. Now, wait a moment. Yeah, stop me if you heard this one. A Zelda game where getting all the collectibles is not worthwhile. If it's not obvious, if you chase them, they just keep chasing. The only solution is to wait until they go into combat mode, which is when they bring their sword out, and wait for them to come to you. Okay, so, second Lizalfos room dealt with. I'm going to go refill briefly here. Do not fall from here, because that's the first Lizalfos room right down there. You can. I wouldn't recommend it. Any Zeldas where the reward is good all the way through? 1. Link Between Worlds. Alright, so. Okay, this is the room I thought it was earlier. My bad. So we do this. Same thing we just did, by the way, just 2 rooms ago. And that's a fairly simple concept, but admittedly, a lot of people weren't sure what to do here, because they don't look around at this point. So, bit of an escalation. Don't fall here. There's a lot of don't fall spots here. And we get the item for the dungeon, which will also round out the first half of the dungeon. Now we just straight up have bombs. Okay, so the ways in which we can interact with the world just increased, and they also bother to have several bombable things nearby. We're not going to bother with that. We're going to do this. And it actually shows us, so now that platform will get up. We've just unlocked another shortcut. That's our 3rd shortcut so far, if you're paying attention. Then we see a sign. When the Dodongo sees red, a new way will be open. Okay. We'll figure that out in a minute. But, you know, remember how the camera does this thing when we get up here? And the whole theme of the entire dungeon is bombs. Thanks, game. And at every point in this dungeon, the game has been showcasing how we can interact with this one central room more and more and more. In case we fell or had issues, or want to go back up, or want to retrace our steps, or want to go back and grab the Skulltulas, pretty much everything constantly indicates how we can progress forwards without actually backtracking. Which, again, is something Ocarina is pretty good at in general. This leads us to our final loop. This is pretty much the end of this particular dungeon right here. Short dungeon, too, which is very much in its favor. Oh, no you don't. Nope. Okay. We did it. We lost the shield. Well. I came close. It's like the second to last keys, I think, or maybe actually be the last keys. I'm not sure which. I'm sorry, I'm solving the puzzles too quickly. The game wants you to think about how to interact with the 3D environment still. Verticality. So what you're probably going to do normally is you're going to walk up here. See this. Now, it does draw your eye there. But then you eventually go to like, oh, there's a bomb thing. But then there's, well, I can't get up here. There's no way to get up here. But again, the game tried to draw your attention to these. And notice almost every time we climb up one of these little ledges, one of these things is here. So, even though we can't see the top of this wall, it helps to indicate we can go up here. Whoops! That's on me. The Hylian shield is free if you know where the dungeon is. I will admit, I don't actually remember. I usually just buy it. If you get it for on sale for, like, I want to say 50 rupees, or otherwise it's 8. Oh, no, it's 40 rupees, and otherwise it's 80 rupees. Well, let's go. Let's just do it. Flunk. Okay, so that was a terrible throw. Let's try that again. Okay, that was a terrible throw, so let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so. Okay, so there's a gold skull tool in here. Oh, I honestly forgot he was even in here. Now, getting the Hylian shield is not super expensive, and the game really does expect you to have it by now. They're getting a little low on health. If you have the Hylian shield, there's a special tactic you can use on the upcoming boss. I do not, of course, so I cannot. So almost every dungeon in the game has one guaranteed fairy spot. And this one is right before the boss. Probably on purpose. Well, it's also a little bit faster, but yes. So we are going to go ahead and pop the milk. Milk is good for 2 shots. And I forget how big of a heal it is, to be honest with you. But it's a heal, so yay, heals. Now we want to go back to bombs. Refill our bombs. And, just like the puzzle we just saw, we can go ahead and unlock a bit of a shortcut, right? Well, no, this isn't a shortcut, this is a progression. This is the one thing we were missing in this room. And notice, once again, that looping motif. Every time we go back through here, the way in which we can interact with it changes. So, this time, we have one thing we didn't last time, which is the block itself. So, grab the block, push the block. And that's kind of it. That's the dungeon. I would like to think I've shown my work, but this is a very, very well-designed dungeon. There are minuscule nitpicks in this dungeon that drag it down. And that's why I say it's the best designed dungeon. Not my favorite. Not the favorite narratively. That's definitely another... honestly, Shadow Temple is probably the best narratively. Let's just put that out there. But this is everything this kind of dungeon needs to be. It is the perfect next step up from the Deku Tree. The Deku Tree was a perfect tutorial dungeon. It is very, very easy, but in a good way. It's there to teach you how to play a video game. Not just, like, play a Zelda game or a 3D game, but a video game. But then it also has to teach you how to play a 3D game, and then it also has to teach you how to play a Zelda game. This dungeon is still doing a bit of heavy lifting when it comes to tutorialization, but it's trying to push you a little bit more. It's like, hang on, okay. How much more do you think you can handle this? If you're paying attention, this similar type of approach was used over in LTTP as well. And similarly, once we hit the dark world of this particular game, we will have a similar circumstance where we then have to up our ante immediately and noticeably. The very first dungeon, which we fight in the dark world of this game, is much more of a deal than the third dungeon of the pre-dark world. Like I said, just like an LTTP. Whew. Okay. Hi, Nortame. Now, I gotta write down everything I just said in the documents, because holy crap. So we've got... So, now, this boss is a funny one. Because as with most bosses in this game, this is a super easy boss. And yet, that's not really the point. A lot of Zelda bosses aren't really designed to be hard. They're designed to be fun. Once again, showing off that camera. And just to emphasize scale. This isn't even a large creature. But the way they use the camera here. This is an awesome moment. And it helps to emphasize how small we are in comparison. Goma wasn't really all that big, for example. So, just a little pro tip. Oh, sorry, I'm actually getting ahead of myself. If you have the Hylian shield, you can actually crouch, do the blocking thing, and just let him roll right over you, and he will roll over you and not actually damage you at all. Again, a fairly simple boss, but the spectacle helps. The arena is also uniquely designed around his gimmick. And on the off chance you run out of bombs, there are bombs presented in the arena to make sure that you don't. Yeah, this has got to be a very unpleasant way to die. Well, I'm sure that's safe to walk on. What always weirded me out as a kid was like, is that actually him? But yeah, no, he's there. There's his mouth, there's his teeth. Have fun, buddy. Yes, you can, Lord Hammer. That's what the 3 heart run's all about. Well done. Thanks to you, we can once again eat the delicious rocks from Dodongo's Cavern until our stomachs burst. What a wild adventure. It'll make an incredible story. I can't believe that Dodongo suddenly appeared in such great numbers. And that big rock blocking the cave. All this trouble must have been caused by that Gerudo thief, Ganondorf. He said, give me the spiritual stone. Only then will I open the cave for you. You, on the other hand, risked your life for us. Kid, I like you. How's about you and I become sworn brothers? No, there's no big ceremony involved. Just take this as a token of our friendship. Where were you hiding that? I mean, I guess it's a spiritual stone, so... In Darunia's case, it's probably in his beard, let's be honest. You don't know what he means by sworn brothers, but you've collected 2 spiritual stones. You have 1 more to find. Brother, you keep traveling, brushing up on your skills as you travel, won't you? You should see the Great Fairy on the top of Death Mountain. She'll power you up. Everybody, let's see off our brother. Goron hugs. Goron hugs. This cutscene is hilarious if you're adult Link, by the way. A surprisingly easy trick to pull off. So, that was Dodongo's Cavern. It tells us to go to the top of the trail. We are pointed towards the top of the trail. As you might imagine, that means we do not have to go to the top of the trail. It's useful, but we don't have to. And if you're paying attention, that's a lot of Ocarina in a nutshell. A lot of Ocarina is, you could do this, or you should do this, but you don't have to. I value that a great deal in game design. Someone hear a moo? How did you get up here? Never mind. So, this is our destination. We're gonna go up there. Once again, it's a lot smaller and shorter than it actually looks because the actual playable terrain ends like right up there, and we've only got the one narrow corridor. More tricks with visuals and all that. So we are going to be doing the dashing thing here because we're actually in a hurry this time. Also, rolling helps to mitigate damage taken. It doesn't have full-on iframes, but it can limit vul windows or whatever that's actually called. I can't remember what that's called. Damn it, I keep wanting to hit the button from Skyward Sword. Whoop. Actually missed. Hey, Kaborga, Borga, Borga. Alright, let's go ahead and go into the volcano. Nice panning cutscene here. Clearly stuff to do in here. So we're like, okay, there's stuff to do in here. And then immediately it's like, oh god, you're gonna die. And trust me, it really is, oh god, you're gonna die. So fun fact, how much time you have is dependent on how many hearts you have when you come in here. If you stay, well, then you burn to death. All Kabora Gabor does is say, go in there. Nice little bit of visual feedback here. The moment we step onto this, everything lights up. Pretty, by the way. Congrats, Lord Harriman. Yes, that comes from 1998 and this game. Yeah, Navi haters exaggerate, to be blunt. Is she irritating from time to time? Yeah, especially in the original version, which was a little bit worse. But, oh yeah, here's your nightmares. Welcome, Laura. I'm the Great Fairy of Power. I don't know why they decided to make the Great... Like, remember what the Great Fairies looked like in LTTP? Because we go pretty much straight from that to this. I'm going to grant you a sword technique. I think the sound effect really sells how terrifying they are. Listen to their parting laugh as they leave, okay? So there's the sword spin from LTTP. So she flat out tells us where we get Din's Fire. And Din's Fire is very, very useful. In fact, I think it's actually mandatory. There you go. There's that lovely parting laugh for you. I mean, they're certainly leaning more into the Fae concept here. Most of the fairies back in, like, say, LTTP weren't. Looks like you've grown up a little from the Great Fairy's power. You still don't look like the hero will save Hyrule, at least not yet. Going back down the mountain. Come here. Hold on to my talons. And then, just to play around with the camera a little bit more. This is actually useful for 3 reasons. First of all, it's neat. Always helpful. Second of all, it is a shortcut down the mountain, which is great, by the way. More games need these kind of shortcutting. And third, just in the off chance you didn't actually want to do it for any other reason, this is the easiest way, bar none, to get this heart piece. So useful, useful, and cool. I'll take it. Let's go grab that shield, because I meant to get it earlier, and I honestly completely spaced. Oh, we should have 10 now. So we should be able to get our first Gold Skulltula reward, too. Oh, God, where's the shield? Yeah, I'm mistaken. I thought there was, like, flowers in front of the correct one. Yeah, the wallet upgrade, yeah, we can't get that until we have the boomerang. The wallet upgrade should be our next upgrade. What, Navi? What does Navi say, actually? Because I know where I'm going next. Oh, yeah. Wonder if Saria knows anything. Well, let's ask her. Are you collecting spiritual stones? You mean the one of water, don't you? The great Tekka tree mold that King Zora, ruler of Zora's domain, has it. So, she's kind of our other half of our hint thing, by the way, Saria. I'll point that out in a bit. Does anyone remember where the shield is? I'm going to go off of very vague memories and say it's this one right here. Probably wrong, though. Yep, I'm definitely wrong. Yeah, useful and quick information, too. But it's not there either. Let's try this one. Yeah! Well, that's not how I wanted this day to go. Game. Holy crap. Oh, that wasn't super helpful. It's okay, we almost died for nothing. Okay, I wasn't there. Yeah, okay. You are hearing a Skulltula, I just can't get it right now. You need a boomerang for it. There we go. So now we have the shield we'll be using for most of the game. Oh, and by the way, this is how you block with this shield, which is actually more useful than you'd think. They designed several enemies who specifically attack you from above. And I knew there were flowers there, I just couldn't see them earlier. Whatever. Whatever. So let's go turn in our Skulltulas really quick. Get rid of the beeping first. There's no reason to, Dream Whisperer. the adult's wallet, which is going to be useful several times. Let's look up something really quick while we're here. Okay, so we get the Shard of Agony at 20, the Giant's Wallet at 30, Bomb Chews at 40, practically useless, and the Piece of Heart at 50. Then we get unlimited money at 100. So this is what I was talking about, and we've actually already given the negative for this. That is a hell of a spread. That first one, the 10, extremely useful. Almost everyone gets 10. A lot of people get 30 to get the Giant's Wallet. Not everyone goes all the way up to 50, and then after 50, going up to 100, that's just there for completion's sake. There's no real benefit to actually bothering to go all the way up to 100. Like, infinite rupees is just kind of pointless. So, moving on. Yeah, you get the Stone of Agony, or whatever it was called, in the N64 version. I believe the Shard of Agony fulfills the same requirement as the Stone of Agony, if I'm remembering correctly. Correct me if I am wrong. Excellent. We're going to go and do just a little bit of the mask quest. It's one of the only major side quests in the game, so we might as well show it off. There's not a lot of use for it unless you really need rupees for some reason. Although, well, we'll get there. Welcome to the Happy Mask Shop. We deal in masks that bring happiness to everyone. Citation needed, sir. Would you like to be a happiness salesman? Oh man, that'd be great. Hey, everyone in chat, would you like some happiness? I'll lend you a mask. You sell the mask and bring the money back here. I will borrow this. One interesting thing about the nature of how this interaction works is you don't pay for the item until you're done. What that means, under very specific circumstances, for example, if you're planning a speedrun route, you can actually map out when you talk to him in order to pay for the masks in a way that actually maximizes the efficiency of how much money you can get out of it and how much money you burn when and where. Yeah, in Majora's Mask, the bunny hood is legit. I kind of wish it was in this one, too. Unless they backported that for the 3DS version? I don't remember. There are a couple of worthwhile bets. I'll show it off. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and put this thing on, first of all. Oh yeah, we look like this. Pikachu! It's not actually a Pokemon reference. It sure looks like one, but it's not. I actually don't remember what this is specifically a reference to. There is something. There was like a kids show that was popular at the time. Do you think you're in disguise, Mr. Hero? Oh? Is that a Key something character mask? I heard he's very popular lately. He's my boy's favorite, that Key something mask. If you don't mind, will you sell it to me? Oh, my boy will be really happy with this. You really are, Mr. Hero. We made some money. And yeah, he just wears it for the entire rest of the game, by the way. Kind of makes me wonder, is that really for his son? I mean, no judgment. You can be honest with me. I mean, wouldn't you? Ah, wouldn't you, Bella? You look at the Happy Masks element, it's like, oh my god, what is that guy's problem? He never had a son. I have no people. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It's like I aimed badly. Also, I know I just said that I don't want to talk about the graphics too much, but as I mentioned before, the fact that a lot of this stuff is actually 3D rendered just looks better to my eyes in the 3DS version. What actually made me think of it is when we're entering town. When we enter town, there's a really crude JPEG over it. And here, you know, it's actually not. It's a 3D render. So, yay. Okay, so now we have the skull mask. Ugh, I guess we'll get the bridge rupee. I mean, I don't really need it right now. Maybe later. Maybe later. Let's go and advance the mask quest really quick, since we can. I was just debating if there's anything else we can do right now. There really is actually a pretty small list. We have access to most of the world, but very little we can do in it, which, once again, mimics LTTP. The Deku Theater. You're gonna have to clarify that one a little bit. Oops. Oh my gosh. Oh, that knocked us. I guess we could do that. Sure, we'll go do that. But that means we have to do that now. So what we're going to do is we're going to save. And we're going to quit the game. Because teleporting is cool. I do like backflipping. I will freely admit, while that is faster than going down the normal route, the main reason I do that is because it's cool. Yeah, we just fall asleep and wake up in bed. Huh? How did I get here? Ah, I wouldn't worry about it. That's apparently the wrong route. No, that's the next mask, Vandalion. Is it up and then left? Nope. Oh, one thing we can do while we're here. Let's turn on the bot, first of all. So, there's a completely irrelevant character that I'm sure will never be significant in any future games, plural. I'm gonna have to look up where these jackasses are. I actually don't remember. Let's see. Oh, the other one, God. Hello, Zora. Well, I'm gonna have to trust Noctis here, because I'm not even finding this damn thing. Oh yeah, I can't actually... I don't have a Deku shield. Oh, I want to go back. Yeah. Oh my god, game. For real? Can I just, no, okay, hang on. So I almost never do this. So I'm kind of going off of extremely vague memories and you guys in chat, because I couldn't even find this in the walkthrough when I looked for it just now. There it is. N64s are 1998. You look exactly like our sacred forest totem. This looks like these sticks. God, I can actually remember the last time I got that upgrade. It was the first time I played this game. On the 3DS, I mean. So, what, 12 years ago now? I mean, 100%ing, you know, that's last time 100% of this game. Ugh. I'm pretty sure I never found that until I looked up a walkthrough. In fact, I'm technically pretty sure I never found that on the N64 version. Or if I did, it was only thanks to GameFAQs. Okay, so... Nope, that's... I'm also getting ahead of myself on the mask quest. I'm just all over the place today. I have to physically move my thumb off of the button. It's the only way I could not do the roll. Under that mask, aren't you that Kokiri kid? What an unusual mask you have there. I like it. It may make me look a little bit tougher. Why don't you give it to me? Yes, I'm gonna wear this all the time. Citation needed. Yay, we lost money. Perfect. I was just thinking to myself, now I'll just go ahead and use my Ocarina to warp to the Temple of Time. Oh yeah, we don't have that functionality yet. It is interesting when they give you fast travel in each of these games. Breath of the Wild, for example, gives it to you practically right out the gate. Like, hey, you can warp back here, like to the spot where you spawn from, pretty much from word go. And by the time you finish the plateau, you have 4 warp spots. While it is probably not worthy of a negative, it's more like it's probably not worthy of a positive. I'm not gonna take it. I still don't have... yeah, Majora's gives it pretty early. Although mostly in the 3DS version. LTTP doesn't give it until quite a ways in. I should have just gone for it. I think I could have made it. I would have made it. Oh, I did make it. Holy crap. Right as it turned night. Did you hear that? It's okay. We have the Song of Suns anyways. So it doesn't actually matter. We can just make it daytime. Which, I don't remember the exact thing. I mean, even Breath of the Wild actually has a pretty good usage of rupees. Like, there's a lot of things you can spend on in Breath of the Wild. That's a good thing. Getting money is the problem in Breath of the Wild. So now we have the spooky mask. Let me look up something really quick here while I'm juggling this. Yeah, I've seen a lot of that, and by that I mean one of my viewers, yes I have, Andalia, has been linking me that stuff constantly. Yeah, exactly, Pookity. It is a thing. And most of these games, most of the Zelda games specifically, do not get that balance correctly. I would say Phantom and Spirit Tracks do probably the best job overall with the economy. Although then again, I remember Twilight doing a good job too, so who knows. Twilight, after all, doesn't let you pick up rupees if you're already full, which is actually a good thing. So we could go to the theater right now and have them boo at us, but let's not even bother. Let's just go ahead and do the next step. Oh wow, Bella. That's pretty awesome. Damn it, I'm rolling again, aren't I? Go faster! Little kids can't go on the heart-pounding grave-digging tour described on the sign. Since I can't do that, I'm just imitating Dompe the Gravekeeper all day. With my cute face, I'm not heart-pounding at all, am I? It's Dompe the Gravekeeper! Huh? Oh, it's just a mask. I get a different kind of fright from that mask than I get from Dompe. Will you give it to me? With this, I'll be just like him. Here's the money. Hey, Crazy Clown Man. That's an interesting question, Javis. Would I say no to a proper remake of Ocarina? No, of course I wouldn't. That sounds awesome. I'd want a proper remake of basically every Zelda game, even Skyward. But that sucks if that's the one they're doing. It's a really, really, really common trend, which is... Every time I see it, it irritates me a little bit more than the previous time. Because they're doing this thing, right? It's like, all right, we want to do a proper remake. And it is a good proper remake. A proper remake. And it's awesome. It's amazing. And it's fun. And it's incredible. And it's fantastic. And yet the specific game they always pick is the most popular one, which doesn't really need it. Right? Now, there's a couple of exceptions to that, but it's a really common tendency to focus in on the popular game instead of the one that could really use a proper remake. Which Zelda game should get a proper remake the most? Probably Zelda 2. But nobody gives a damn about Zelda 2. So they're just going to ignore that forever and walk away from it. Instead, we're going to get Ocarina. If we get anything. This is what we get for having this hood. We get bouncy ears. Worth it. Yeah, the version of the game we're playing right now is a perfectly good version of the game. Just make this playable on the Switch. Done. Right? Put Majora's Mask on the Switch. Fix the bosses. Fix the swimming. Done. We don't need a proper remake of Ocarina, you know what I mean? We didn't need a proper remake of Resident Evil 4. By all accounts, Resident Evil 4 R is really good. But it didn't need it. RE4 is a great game, now, which is playable on modern systems. I'm sorry, it's such a minor thing to hang on about, but it is something that bugs me. It is a pet peeve. All right, now the good news is, Kaepora Gabor here, he's not going to talk to me. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it! Looks like you've gotten bigger and stronger already, Laura. Just ahead lies Zora's domain. The Zoras serve Hyrule's royal family by protecting this water source. Their door will not open for anyone except those who have some connection with the royal family. Which is probably supposed to be like an indicator of how to get in, but if we're being totally honest with ourselves for a second, this is another little bit of storytelling in the background. The Zora live an extremely insular and isolated society, and only really serve outsiders if they happen to be connected to the royal family. Think about that for 5 seconds. While we're here, we're going to buy a couple of these. How about some magic beans? They aren't selling very well. 10 rupees. Sure. How about magic beans? Well, they're not popular yet. 20 rupees. This is one of the biggest money dumps in the entire game right here, by the way. A lot of these get you heart pieces, among other things. Magic beans are getting to be quite popular. 30 rupees. No, they're not making the frogs gay, Noctis. Yeah, I guess we should. Yeah, that's very capitalistic, isn't it? What are you doing? I'm eating these beans. Do you want one? Sure. How much? Well, the supply is dwindling. I mean, honestly, I'm with you on that, Pokety. I do understand the strategy of spreading it out a little bit. It smooths things over financially, and it avoids glut. You don't want to say, hey, here's 15 Zelda games on the Switch. That's going to scare people away. It's going to spike interest and then diminish it almost immediately. And a lot of people will look at that and just be like, oh god, I don't have money for 15 games. Instead, you release one game and then you wait a few months, like 6 months. Hey, new Zelda game on the Switch, just so you know. Another 6 months. You get it. And yeah, don't mistake me, I'd rather have a new Zelda over a remake. I'm really happy we're getting a new Zelda. Of all the things I was predicting, that was not one of them. Well, that ties into an idea I've had for years, Punk, that ports should be released on modern systems for much less. Like, imagine you could get this game on the Switch right now, and it's just the 3DS version of the game. Nothing significant, nothing fancy. It's just the 3DS version of the game on the Switch, and it's like $10, right? Hell, maybe $5. I'd buy that the moment it came out, which is sort of the point, really. It's a very, very, very basic economic concept that a lot of people do not understand. If you price to sell, you can make up for your price variance with quantity of sales. Very basic economic principle. That even, there's a CEO, I forget who it was of, who recently was preaching about that's like, yeah, people need to understand that you can sell more if you lower the price range. And it's like, yeah, duh. Like, holy crap. But anyway, sorry. Rant off. Money sucks. Moving on. So. Yeah, I was going to say, also, yeah, there's pretty much no real production costs for digital media. There's development costs, but there was always development cost. It does take time and effort to port these games forwards. I'm not diminishing that. I'm just saying it is a doable, solvable problem. I think it was, Bella, yeah. So, another good example of an overworld section in this game. Nice, quick little thing. Source of fairies, heart piece, small little puzzle in order to use the Kuko to reach. Cool. A couple of enemies, nothing too shabby. Disorienting camera. Gotta love that. Exactly, Bertavon. I feel like some people are just... love that camera angle. Some people are just a little bit too stuck in 20 or 30 years ago when it comes to how to price things. Notice, once again, different instruments, different vibe, different everything. Total contrast to the area we were just at, which is the Gorons. Ignore the main quest for just a second, though. We don't have that many rupees, but we should have enough. Blue on blue. Have fun. It's okay. It's easier to see on the 3DS. Whee. Damn, I missed. Yeah, the Zora are a nice aquatic elven kind of a thing. I can't wait to see the two Zoras finally meet in the upcoming Zelda game, speaking of which. Yeah, while we're here, I just picked up a fairy, didn't I? That's fine. That's whatever. Be free, my little fairy friend. That fish looks delicious. Who are you? We are the Zoras, the proud aquatic people. You say you have some connection with Hyrule's royal family. What do you want from us? I want you to die. And then I want to eat you. With, like, lemon. Yeah, just leap off this waterfall into the water. It's fine. Okay. Pretty much mandatory. Yeah, we'll eat the king. Eat the rich. We're good at diving. How about you? If you want to be a master diver, try the diving game at the top of the waterfall. Good idea. We haven't found Princess Ruto, even though some of us have searched as far as Lake Hylia. Wait, Princess who? You have a princess? I don't know what you're talking about, Ross. Guys, we need to kill Ross before he spreads to infect the others. Zora's fountain is the source of the river. Lord Jabu-Jabu lives in the fountain. He's the patron deity of the Zoras. Princess Ruto is in charge of preparing his meals, morning and night. Wow, that sounds like a terrible job. Making meals for a giant fish? Excuse me, he's not really a wind fish, for he is neither. Yeah, but I'm right here, Ross. And it's not like I need the ferry. Oh, my dear, sweet Princess Ruto, where has she gone? I'm so worried. Okay. Well, there's a princess, and there's stuff going on, and I guess we could go to Lake Hylia, if only there was some kind of shortcut. In fairness, they do kind of indicate that shortcut's right there. You're almost guaranteed to go right into it. And several people do direct you to the diving game, so it's pretty easy to find this little thing. And the moment you go into it, you're in Hylia. So they do a good job of saying, hey, you should go this way. Also, further aside, I never actually saw that bottle in the N64 version. I just knew to dive right around here-ish. Notice they actually add the bubbles to indicate where you should dive at in this version as well. Might have been in the original. Not sure. You got an empty bottle. Wait, there's something inside. Yeah, no, I can never see the damn thing. We Zoras all respect the great King Zora. He has the dignity of a king. Uh-huh. The Grand King Zora has a princess named Ruto. She's an only child. She's a wild tomboy, and it seems like she's always causing the king a lot of trouble. The great King Zora should be in the royal chamber. Thanks. Right, let's go ahead and swap these really quick. Help me, I'm waiting for you inside Lord Jabu-Jabu's belly. Ruto. P.S. Don't tell my father. Also, not to get too much into it, but based on the timeline, it's very likely that Ruto was born right about during the war. Ruto's mother is also nowhere to be found. We do know she has a mother. She references her in an upcoming sequence. So it's not that hard of a push to say that Ruto is probably also a war orphan. Or something very close to it. This letter, it's from Princess Ruto. Let's see. She's inside Jabu-Jabu. That's not possible. Our guardian god, Lord Jabu-Jabu, would never eat my dear Princess Ruto. Since that stranger Ganondorf came here, Jabu-Jabu's been a little green around the gills. The evidence seems clear. Of course you'll go find Ruto. You can pass through here. To have the best scene in the game. Anyways, hope you enjoyed that. It's all downhill from here. I also want to see if I can remember how to do this. I probably can't. No, I had it lined up. Hang on. I'm at the wrong wall. I just realized. Hang on. I want to be here? I want to be right here. Actually, you can only do this particular skip on the 3DS version. The one I'm trying to do anyways. I learned it specifically for when I was speedrunning the 3DS version. But I haven't practiced it in literal years, so... Oh well. That's how you skip Maweep, by the way. Is you just... So, the whole realm here is water, so what you do is you get under the hole. You get under the terrain, and then you're in water, and then you swim up over here, and then swim up through the floor, and then you just skip the whole thing. But we will never skip Maweep. And he's just the windfish. He's just the windfish. Windfish. Wake up, windfish. We've got a terrible dungeon to burn. All joking aside, I'm curious how this dungeon's going to score. I have no fond memories of this dungeon. One moment, please. Sorry. Ooh. I mean, the windfish was real the whole time. He existed in the material plane, for lack of a better word. I keep jokingly calling them, like, every single uh, giant whale thing, the windfish. But to be clear, I'm being a little facetious about that. The point is that the Zelda series has this fascination with giant whales that are, well, they look like that, you know? It's a Japanese cultural thing, right? Sin, but less destructive. So, I just call each of these the windfish, just like the dude in Phantom Hourglass. I don't remember if we can do this yet. Let's test, because I don't remember. I usually do this immediately after this dungeon. But I legitimately don't remember. So let's just test it. Let's just find out. Get this over here. Actually, yes, Dream Whisperer. And you're still a kid. Not a squid. Like I kind of hinted at earlier, you can do several of these dungeons in completely the wrong form. And it actually changes how the dungeons play, because a lot of ledges you can't access as a kid, you can access as an adult, and vice versa. You get Ferore's Wind. This is interesting. I pretty much never used this back in the day. But it's a nice thing. I don't want to say it's required for Master Quest, but let's just say it made Master Quest a lot smoother. It allows you to put a recall spot down. Yeah, it allows you to kind of make your own checkpoints. One moment, please. I don't actually remember Dream Whisperer. I apologize for the delay. I have been tasked with something. Okay, so to spare you, I'll be right back. Okay, so it's time to kill Trihexia. At long last. I've waited years for this. It's another thing we can't get until we have Boomerang. That just keeps coming up, doesn't it? For the record, you can kill the Skulltulas, but you have to get their token. Getting the token is what flags that thing as something you have now procured. If you kill them and then leave and come back without getting the token, then all that happens is they respawn. Brought you fish. You want a fish? Wait, no. No, just the fish. Look, I know Link is tasty, but I don't really mean in that... Cool. Well, this is my life now. So yeah, this dungeon is not great. Let's just get that out of the way. I don't want to oversell, undersell, or anything. This dungeon, it's not super great. It's probably going to be one of the worst scoring dungeons, even just purely from a gameplay perspective. So there's enemies we can't kill at the moment. Keep that in mind. That's actually a feature of the dungeon, by the way, is an enemy we cannot kill yet. That's a strange decision, let me tell you. And it is the third enemy that we encounter in this dungeon. Also, the walls are doing that, they look like that, and the whole dungeon sounds like this. Oh, hang on, we just got into combat. The problem, as weird as it may sound, is the dungeon does a little bit too good of its job of making this feel like the inside of a creature. And that is the problem. Then we see Ruto, who is Princess of the Zoras. What? You saying my father asked you to come save me? I never asked anyone to do such a thing. Let her in a bottle. I have no idea what you're talking about. My father's worried about me? I don't care. Anyways, I can't go home right now. And you, get out of here. So Ruto goes way out of her way to immediately establish that she's a brat. It's very bright here. Sorry, it's okay. Is this the kids too? Okay. So everything gets across the idea is gross. Now, we have precedents for giving negatives to gross before. In fact, that's a precedent I had to fight for very, very hard. Because nobody in the universe agreed with me. So the question is this level of gross sufficient to qualify as a negative? Because that's the only question at this point. Is this gross enough? See, Baron thinks gross can be good. And Baron is wrong. Like Baron is so wrong that Baron actually thinks... I'm sorry, I shouldn't be facetious. I shouldn't do that. I'm sorry. I'm just poking fun. Now, weirdly enough, I don't think this qualifies as gross enough to be a negative at the moment. We'll decide what I think of that by the time we're at the end of it. However, I want you to remember that gross thing when we get to the Shadow Temple. Anyways. So... But right off the bat, we establish enemies that are irritating. In fact, we actually have 3 enemies that are irritating. One that requires a reflect mechanism, which we probably don't even have access to. At the moment, we do not have access to. The second is something that requires us to... It's a random movement thing, and it's really easy to run into it while you're trying to swing at it. And the third one will electrocute you and is immune to all of our weapons. So already we're in a mood to be irritated. It's gross. It's the music down here is gross. The sound effect down here is gross. And we're being irritated. Then what's the first thing we meet? We meet Ruto. So now that we've met Ruto, she's an irritating twat who goes out of her way to lean into the spoiled brat archetype a little bit too hard. And this is all it really needs to be said, right? This dungeon goes very far out of its way to destroy a lot of the goodwill of the previous 2 dungeons, both of which were fantastic. So we're not starting off on good footing here. Fun fact, I do know one person personally who actually put the game down at this dungeon back in the day. Because of everything I just said. They was just like, ugh. And then they're like, ugh. And then they met Ruto, and it's, alright, I'm done. You still hanging around here? I told you to go away. I'm okay. I've been going inside Lord Jabu-Jabu's belly since I was little. But Lord Jabu-Jabu is very strange today. There's electrified jellyfish and strange holes around. My precious stone was... But that's none of your business. Anyway, you go home now. Understand? You're that worried about me? And I will give you the honor of carrying me. However, I won't leave until I find the thing I'm looking for. You'd better believe me. Yeah. So anyways, to demonstrate... That's what Baron has said like 3 times now in chat. And then we have these fun things. Also, if you leave her behind, you get that message. Fun fact, that message is a helpful reminder thing, but it's also not actually always true. How inconsiderate. How could you leave me behind? If you're a man, act like one. Take responsibility. This could have worked. First of all, change her personality to not be a brat. Step 1. Step 2. Maybe change a little bit of how she interacts with the environment around her. Right now, she is functionally a rock in terms of programming. Maybe make her a little bit more of like a bomb in terms of programming. Make it so that you can throw her and... Or maybe she homes in on a thing nearby or whatever. Because you can use her to damage terrain and activate switches. So there are things you could have done to make her more interesting than just being carrying around a rock, which is what she is. Oh, also enemies you can't attack until they pop out and are in a vulnerable state. That's like 100% irritating enemies so far, if you're paying attention. Yeah, that was little bit too slow there. That's okay. I don't want to come across as too harsh. You notice, I have not given any negatives yet. I'm just trying to point out how the design of this dungeon is a fairly large step down from the frankly fantastic quality of the first two dungeons. And hell, the fourth dungeon for that matter. Or yeah, maybe she could shoot fireballs. Even if you have no control over it, she just randomly shoots a fireball at something nearby. Would have been awesome. Hi, Colgrim. She only has 4 eyes. We can also take her as a backpack. Like, there's options. I know this is the N64, and I know that they were still pushing the limits of what it could do, and I know it was supposed to be on better hardware. I just kind of don't care. There's so much they could have done with this to make this more interesting, and if they could make it more interesting, then they probably should not have done it at all. Instead, this is pretty much the worst type of escort quest. Oh yeah, by the way, this dungeon also has gotchas on top of everything else. And yes, I did do that on purpose because I knew he was there. And these enemies, which I believe are straight up invincible until you get the item. Are you noticing the trend of this dungeon? Because the trend of this dungeon is just irritation. Now, obviously, I'm being a little facetious for the sake of humor, but I'm also being sincere. Everything in here is irritating to deal with, from the terrain, to the NPC, to the enemy design. Now, it's such a shame, because we get one of the best items in the game in here. No joke. The kit in here is... The kit in Ocarina is weird. I mean, I've seen worse escort missions, too. But the reason I say this is such a bad version of an escort mission is it locks down your ability to do anything while you're doing the escort. Obviously, there's a lot of types of bad escort missions. I'll use Spyro as an example. There's an escort mission in Spyro. Spyro 2, I want to say? It might have been Spyro 3. Where there's this little ballerina mouse thing, and she's skating around in the ice. Not ballerina, ice skater. She's skating around in the ice, and you have to knock out the people who are going after her. Okay, that's simple. All you have to do is run around and hit them, right? But the thing is, she has collision, so she blocks your shots. So if she's in between you and the enemy, sucks to be you. Now, that's a situation in which you have your full kit access to it, but the nature of the escort mission still screws with you. There's actually a lot of games that do that. I'll use another example. TIE Fighter. In TIE Fighter, there's a lot of escort missions where here's this ship you have to defend. Enemies come up from over here, so you go out to these enemies to deal with them, and while you're dealing with them way down here, the boss is like, hey, these other enemies spawned right here, right next to me. You knew they were going to be there, right? Oh, you didn't. Well, you're still down here, and you physically cannot get back in time to save the ship. Mission critical craft under attack. Mission critical craft shields down. Mission critical craft destroyed. That's how you do bad escort quests. So this isn't the worst. I don't want to be super facetious. But the fact that they lock down our ability to interact with anything in the world other than movement. No rolls, no dodges, no attacks, no using our kit. All we can do is walk while we're carrying her. That's not great. Now, this section does something with it, and I will give the game credit for this. We could have actually gone into this room earlier. But we could not progress because she sits on the switches. I am in the wrong room. Oh, she also yells at you when you put her down? Keep in mind, you have to. Like, you mandatorily have to put her down to progress, right? That's not a choice. So she flat out says... God damn it. She flat out says, you're so inconsiderate and I hate you. Act like a man. There we go. So speaking of irritating enemies, these ones are straight up invincible. and have a huge chunk of iframes when you hit them. Come on. There we go. And they're dead. He'd be pretty big, Vandalia. You could fit a whole island in him. So there's one of the best items in the game. Again, barely joking. It's a really good item. Now, the boomerang has almost always been a joke in the franchise, to the point where you can actually skip getting it completely and you suffer nothing. I think that's one of the reasons why in Phantom Hourglass they tried to make it so useful. In this game, the way they make it useful is, well, it's easiest to just describe by showing. So, it's a homing weapon. That's already useful in a game like this. You just lock onto something and shwunk. So that's great. It also is a surprisingly good offensive weapon. Most enemies in the child sections are either weak to or stunned by the boomerang. It also has a bit of viscerality going for it. For example, you know, why would an adult use a boomerang or a slingshot? Now, what's really funny, from a purely gameplay perspective, it makes a bit of sense, right? Obviously, the bow replaces the slingshot, so that's fine. But you want different kit in the different times. You want different kit for the different areas. That way they can play with allowing you to go back and forth between the two. And having you, vary up the types of puzzles and encounters you can have between the two. So that's cool. I'm kind of with that. Ah, that's the downside of the boomerang. You miss. Takes a minute. By the way, I'm going to have to cut off pretty soon. I'm going to try to beat this dungeon. All that. Oh, it's very arbitrary. Like I'm on board, like conceptually. I just think they could do. I think they could do worse. I like the idea of distinguishing the two sides. Yeah, what you just heard, or probably did not hear, was the sound of a young child tripping and falling into something due to how much stuff is all over the place right now. It doesn't help that most people in this household are currently sick. Myself included, actually. Oh, absolutely, Ginkgo. I do love the sound effect of the boomerang, though, the whipping sound. She's okay, Bionic. She rushed up to her uncle and, like, clinged to my legs in that please pick me up kind of a way, which some of you probably know exactly what that's like. And the rest of you are like, huh? That would make sense, Baron. I can also shoot the thing manually. I haven't really shown that off properly. Speaking of well-designed boomerang weapons, we'll have to talk about that again when it comes to Twilight. Possibly our last boomerang weapon, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, because we've kind of covered all the games after this that have boomerangs other than that, I think. But anyways, so. Hey. Unlocked a path. Woo! Oh yeah, and you've probably been wondering, why do I care about having the boomerang for so many of these things? Well, like I said earlier, the boomerang lets you grab the token, and the token's what really matters. Apparently Wind Waker has a boomerang. I'll take your word on that. But I don't think I believe you. I think you're lying to me. Sorry, that's a dumb joke. There's one thing politicians have taught me today is that even when you are demonstrably and objectively wrong, keep acting like you're right. You'll get away with it eventually. Princess Ruto gets the stone. Why Princess Ruto? Oh my goodness, I finally found my mother's stone. I got very upset when Lord Jabu-Jabu swallowed it. While I was feeding him, he suddenly swallowed me. I was so surprised I dropped it inside. But now that I found it, I don't need to be in here anymore. So take me home, right now. Okay. Bye, Ruto. Yeah, goodbye, dead weight. So there's a few strategies to this guy. That doesn't work. You know, it does occasionally work. Well, yeah, Link's got to choose. The fastest method to do this by far, I guess I could show it off. Hang on. So you get hit. That makes him turn around. Then he opens his weak point. And you're done. So for anybody wondering how to speedrun this, that's how you do it. Get hit on purpose. He drops hearts anyways. So that's the first half of the dungeon done. Thankfully, like with most of the child dungeons, this is a pretty short dungeon. And we can now kill those without being electrocuted, even though we just got electrocuted. Don't pay too much attention to it. This is a little more irritating to do in this version, but that's okay. It's my fault for not having a 3DS capture card. Or for 3DS's not being playable on the Switch. Nintendo! Don't think about it. No. Don't think about it. Just Malin, Bella. Which honestly probably is the canon answer to that. So believe it or not, we're almost done. This is the second to last room here. This is a big old final exam room. You figured out how the boomerang works, right? Well, there's a bunch of those things. I actually forget what they're called. There's a Skulltula. What are you called? Beeries. And this, yeah, there's not a lot that really indicates this. The 3DS version does a better job of it. Because that barrier is way more obvious in the 3DS version. It's like, oh, okay, so we just do this. But in the N64 version, yeah, it's not nearly as visible. So there's another example of the 3DS version scoring better than the N64 version. We're up to like 10 variances in positive and negative score. It's already larger than I thought it would be. Boss time. Jabu-Jabu, you got some problems. Oh, and I agree with Baron. It's probable that the parasitical crap we were cleaning off earlier is probably part of the tentacles of Baronet that are going into Jabu-Jabu, which is exactly as gross as it sounds. Is one done? Got it as I was getting hit. Yeah, we're more or less trying to scalpel this thing out of here. And yeah, always with the parasites and the giant fish. It's really gross. Phase 3. Notice way more complex than the previous bosses, but still not what I would call hard. This is kind of your final exam for being a child at this point. Everything after this point actually scales it up even more than this. I hate when that happens. He's got the giant laser shots he can shoot you with, as if he's a Beamos. He's got the defenders. He's got green blood all over the place. And of course, he's weak to the bosses, the dungeon. The dungeon item. Gross. You're late. What took you so long? You're useless. I was just lonely, that's all. Just a little. Yeah, thanks, Ruto. Baka. Ah! Yeah, appropriate reaction there. You look cool. Cooler than I thought you would, anyways. Just a little. You saved me, so I guess I'll reward you. What do you want? I want your spiritual stone. Ah, my mother gave it to me, said I should only give it to the man who will be my husband. You might call it the Zora engagement ring. Alright, I'll give you my most precious possession. Yeah, I think the only species that's never had at least one person that's thirsted for Link is the Gorons. Yeah, sure, I'll give you my engagement ring. It's not like I like you or anything. That was really early. Her most precious possession. You don't know what she's talking about, but you finally collected all 3 stones. Time to go see Princess Zelda. Don't tell my father. You mean my father? Right? Oh, also, they drop you right here, facing the spot where you could go get the recall spell, which I failed to show off, of course. So that's cool. What's also cool is tomorrow, at roughly 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or this.